So we were hearing about how GST has impacted the disabled in India. They now have to pay a 5% tax on goods that they really didn't need to pay a tax on. Vehicles, wheelchairs, hearing aids, braille paper, like ridiculous, honestly. But what Nipun has gone to the Supreme Court of India for is to include discrimination under Article 15 of the Constitution. Basically, discrimination against caste, religion, and all of those are included. Race, place of work. But what's not included is the disability. Obviously, it got left out of the Constitution, and he's saying bring it in because at the end of the day, people suffering from disabilities can get their right within the Constitution. Explain to me, how come for 70 years this has not been seen, this has not been recognized, nobody's gone out and asked for it?
It is extremely disappointing, and to be very honest with you, I think when the Constitution of India was made by the forefathers of the country, a lot of people compliment the Constitution for being one of the most perfect documents that a lot of other countries have replicated. But one thing that really escapes notice is that disability was completely forgotten. Not only in the fundamental rights of the country, but India actually did not even have a Disability Act when the Constitution was created. In fact, I was born in 1987 and India's first disability law came into place in 1995. So I was a citizen of the country that who did not even have an act to protect me for 8 years of my life. So coming specifically to the Constitution and what we have asked for this time, Article 15 in the Indian Constitution as a fundamental right says that every citizen is protected against against discrimination based on race, caste, gender, place of birth, and what I feel is that disability also needs to be put in along with these 4 or 5 categories, because discrimination against people with disabilities happens on a day-to-day basis. I have faced discrimination, there are loads of other people who have faced discrimination, and now thanks to new age media these things are being highlighted, but people with disabilities have long been forgotten, and it's only a constitutional protection that will help them go forward.
How have people gone past it so far? Has people just understood and given you a job, or people would have come and said, all right, you're disabled and we'll accommodate, but the Constitution doesn't seem to protect them at all, and so how has business been conducted so far?
I think everything has really been a fight for people with disabilities, and that's both at the macro and the micro level. And let me give you an example both at the macro and the micro level to explain it to you. At the macro level, GST is not really the first example where policymakers have forgotten disability, and it's across party lines that when policy is made, people with disabilities are often forgotten. For example, when 2 years back the Delhi government introduced the odd even scheme to control pollution, or that was the reason that they had given, though it was traffic that was helped more than pollution, to be honest with you. People with disabilities were forgotten and not exempted from the odd even. And I along with loads of other disability activists, wrote to the Delhi government, the DTC, the Delhi Chief Minister himself, requesting an exemption because public transport infrastructure in Delhi is pitiable for people with disabilities.
Did it happen?
And no, it didn't help, and I actually had to do a PI in the Delhi High Court at that point of time too, to eventually get an exemption for people with disabilities. But apart from that, what I also did with a couple of media channels is that I went around with cameras around Delhi showing how public transport in Delhi is particularly bad. And I remember we were doing this small snippet for a TV channel where I acted like a citizen journalist, and we were showing a low floor bus. There are a few low floor buses in Delhi. Sure. Even though I believe all buses should be low floor with ramps for wheelchair users. Sure. But even that particular low floor bus, when the conductor opened the ramp of that bus, the ramp was broken. So it had not been maintained at all, and the conductor himself on camera accepted that I've actually never been trained to open a ramp. So it's both a lack of transport infrastructure and Delhi is just one example. Delhi is the capital of the country, and if Delhi is so bad, you can imagine how bad the rest of the country will be.
Absolutely. No, I think the concept of making sure that the Constitution protects it, and then beyond that, educating people how to conduct themselves so that people with disabilities don't feel the pinch of existing within that society. I think those are very, very important parts of this. So we're going to take a break here. On the next segment, let's talk about what it will take to include people with disabilities within the system. And it's essential that we recognize that it's not just the GST, it's not just adding them to the Constitution as a disability to be part of the discriminatory code, but there'll be more than that. So let's take a quick break and let's return.